Listener discretion is advised.
Thanks for listening to The Devil You Know. This is Witch Heather Height, aka Heidi Nights. Now you listen real good, or I'm going to give you what you're asking for.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our number 47.
Welcome to my humble abode.
Hello, three wonderful bats. It's not even Halloween time. We're already doing this.
When I used to think of Halloween and vampires and shit, I'd always think about, Bela Lugosi. It's awesome. But after seeing, what we do in the shadows, I cannot stop thinking about those guys.
I haven't seen that yet. I always wanted to see it. I love the trailer for it. It's funny as hell. But
dude, you got to watch it 2 times in a row. That's how fucking funny it is. Dude. Yeah, I love Halloween, man. It's coming up, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully taking a trip pretty soon back east, and that'll be great.
I know.
See what's going on, and I don't know. Speaking of taking little trips, man, you live right near Mickey Mouse Land. You keep going there like every other fucking day, don't you?
Well, we bought season passes.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
we're like hour and a half, 2 hours away. So Willow, she's a Mickey Mouse maniac. So we decided to take advantage of it, and I mean that's been like Lexi and I love, we love Disney World.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it before that Walt Disney was a de facto Satanist. I mean the detail to the environments is insane, but to see it through Willow's eyes makes it that much more amazing. And the simple things like the greatest thing in the world that she ever experienced was meeting Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and she.
I know, dude.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw the video.
Of course. I mean, I wanted to say something about the other thing though. You got season passes. That's really cool because, like, I love a good deal, man. I bought a monthly bus ticket. I never have and never will take the bus, but it was such a bargain. I had to get it. But no, I'm kidding. But like, I watched that video and she's so damn cute, and just hugging Mickey and Minnie.
I could have easily just said, "I'm leaving you here with Mickey," and she would have just turned and said, "Bye, Daddy," and I should have been fine with that.
I got
she
this.
did not want to leave, so yeah. I mean, it's cool, and we kind of we did one day at Magic Kingdom, and then like yesterday we went to both Animal Kingdom and the Hollywood Studios, which is it's practically Star Wars land now.
Dude, Willow is, I gotta say, I'm not just saying this because you're my brother. She's so fucking cute, and I know it's all Lexi. Are you sure she's your kid?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got a beautiful wife, so of course I got a beautiful kid too.
Oh man, she's awesome, really awesome.
But she's funny, man. She's really smart, and she was not happy to leave, and now she's learned about rides, and being out, those rides, like, they only last like a minute and a half, and then she's like, "What the hell? The fuck? Who stopped this
That's
ride?"
all you got?
know?
Let's go again. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, good times, man.
That's awesome, man. I love kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids, let's get this show rolling. All right, kids.
The Law of Gyps.
Law number 20. Disdain which you cannot abide, not which you cannot obtain. Not having something because I cannot afford it doesn't generally garner my absolute loathing. I only dislike what does not appeal to my tastes and preferences. Although I may be an elitist, I don't despise the Rolls-Royce, for example, due to its high price. However, I may despise the Mercedes or the Bentley because I don't like the shape or color of either. While money cannot purchase things like class, taste, presentation, aplomb, a sense of aesthetics, or a friendship with others, Using it wisely can allow you to gain the material possessions that put a smile on your face. After all, ego gratification through things that make us happy by material means are important. They're important to our ego, they're important to our mental health, they're important to our self-image, and they also reveal our character and self-respect. However, if you're buying things you don't like, but you're buying them because you think it will please others, including your next-door neighbor, your friends, your CEO, or your fans, at the end of the day, you're only fooling yourself. You disdain yourself. And if that's the case, go fuck yourself. Hail Satan.
Scarcity, dearth, destitution. There is indigence in my restraint. The passions of the wanton are deeply embedded, and with no catharsis, no avenue for release, such passions may become poisons. It is by such self-realizations that one must seek to lax one's expected notions of propriety, as they may concern all we of good breeding, and look to the commonest caste in society for more amenable options. The common plebe, requiring less concern for public appearances as his social stature would indicate, is at a distinct advantage when it comes to his or her pursuit of pleasure. That being said, his pleasures are almost always confined to the lowliness of said stature. The goal, of course, is to evolve and be, but in the meantime, appearances being as they are and wielding what they wield, faking it until one makes it is a far better option than not trying at all. Whether you, my dear listener, live a financially bountiful existence or one of meager wages, as a bearer of the black flame of Satan, you remain elitist. That with the proper diligence in such matters, you must know with absolute certainty that the tides are quickly reversed and that monetary fulfillment is always accessible. Much it is with he who seeks to develop a bountiful carnal existence. To that end, I suggest you continue listening to your friend, the good Count, as I impart to you several tricks of the transgressive trade of the satanic libertine in subsequent episodes of the Devil You Know podcast. In addendum and for the interim, I recommend refreshing your understanding of behavioral human psychology with a revisiting of Herr Doctor's classic work, The Satanic Witch, this in anticipation of the publication of its companion piece, The Satanic Warlock by Magister Dr. Robert Johnson. While you're at it, as His Excellency is never above a cheap plug, do yourself a favor and purchase the latest issue of Old Nick magazine. However, attempt to save your lubricious juices when perusing its pages, and use that disquieting hormonal impetus to go out about town and indulge in the hunt. I am your ignoble nobleman, the Vicar of Vice, Count MoriVond, signing off. In nomine Dei nostri Satanus Pater Libertinorum.
All right, so for episode 47, John, it's time to bring in a man with many talents and what you gotta do when he comes over for you, brother.
Yes, we've got none other than Warlock Christopher Lee, everyone.
Greetings.
What's up, man?
How much? How you?
We understand that
Oh, we
you're
have a studio audience.
That's right.
Of course, you didn't know. Yeah, so we understand that you're nursing an injury tonight.
Yeah. I'm down for the count here. I've got a what they called was a displaced fracture. So
How'd that happen? Masturbating?
No, surprisingly not.
Oh.
That would be some
Basically what
furious
I,
masturbation too, by the way.
Oh yeah, that would.
I got rug burn from that
Basically-
one.
I broke my arm.
It slipped and I hit the wall. What can you say?
Yeah, it happens.
No, basically what happened was I on weekends I'm a wrestler in a local independent league. I've been doing it since 1999. And
Nice.
the very end of the match, I went for my finishing move, which is a moonsault, which is, if you don't know anything about wrestling, the moonsault is a backflip off the top rope onto your opponent. And it's a pretty crazy move to do. Mine are a little crooked, but I love doing them. And came off, did the backflip, landed weird, and as soon as I hit, I knew something was bad. So I finished the match and then got up, and the ref's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I broke my fucking arm."
Something bit me.
Well, hey, that's a badass though. When you finish the match and then go, yeah. Oh, by the way, I broke my arm. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Did you do any more flips after you broke the arm?
No, I pretty much went straight to the back, and everybody was like, "Great match," and I'm like, "Yeah, till the very fucking end."
They're all patting you on the bad arm. Hey, good job, man.
Yeah.
Quit it.
Now, what was funny was when I got to the hospital, they're offering me all kinds of pain medicine, and I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm fine." And it really didn't hurt. And one of the nurses said, "There's a guy that was in here earlier, and he had a hangnail, and he was crying, and I'm laying on the bed cracking jokes." So,
Because you're a real man.
it really didn't hurt. It was so bizarre. I mean, there was almost no pain at all, and it just I don't know. Like, I was like, fuck it,
I broke my nail. Can I get an oxy? What the hell?
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't think they would.
But now, I mean,
good anyway.
Yeah.
Now that's obviously though, like for those people out there who kind of joke about wrestling being fake. I mean, you don't break your arm on something that's fake.
No, you don't. I mean, I get.
I get the
real bit out of
stories
shit
are kind of
people
crazy,
say.
but
What's that?
Sorry, but the stories can be a little bit drama oriented, but I mean, as far as what you're doing, I mean, yeah, you're supposed to not actually kill the other person, but there's some serious acrobatics and athletics happening here.
Yeah, it's choreographed, and it's the endings are predetermined, and it's the action is choreographed, but you can't fake gravity. And a lot of what wrestlers do, if you alter a move, just say 3 degrees, you're going to break something. You can very easily break somebody's knee or somebody's elbow, and it's very easy to do. And you're only as good as the person you're in there with, and you've got to have complete trust in each other. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad night. So,
wouldn't that be great though? On a headstone, you can't fake gravity.
He's not going to
What a
die.
great
I might put it on mine.
Can I scratch that on your gravestone when you die?
Well, what got you into wrestling, man?
I've always been around it. My dad did it for a while when he was younger, and we lived in Charlotte back in the glory days. With Ric Flair and Rick Steamboat, and I was around for all that stuff when it was first going, and it's something I've always been around and watched and just been a fan of my entire life. And yeah, nice. But the guys that I created this group with, we were all hanging out at a nightclub one night, and we were like, "Hey, it'd be really cool New Year's Eve. Let's put on a wrestling show." So we did, and 200 people showed up, and it was only supposed to be a one-time thing, and here we are, 200 people are there, and everybody's like, "When's the next one?" They're like, "Oh,
Nice.
we don't know." So we did another one, and then 200 people showed up, and they're like, "When's the next one?" And it just snowballed from there.
Very cool.
So,
Oh, so this is your own. This is an organization that you put together.
well, I was part of it. I'm not the sole person that put it together. I was one of about a dozen guys that put it together, and I'm the only guy that was, part of that original group that's still stupid enough to be doing it now. So,
So how long
everybody
has
else
that been
moved
then?
on. We started it in 1999.
Damn.
We're I think this is our 16th or 17th year. Our anniversary show is
99,
weekend
damn.
of Thanksgiving.
The sky was all purple and people running everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm a big Prince fan, so that was a nice segue you threw in there.
That's all I have is segues. But
For all
that's
of my
awesome.
evil exterior people, baffled to learn that I love Prince. So
And speaking of an evil exterior, I seen you in a mask on the what's that? The Clint Mephisto, right?
yes, Clint Mephisto, my drunken cowboy from hell alter ego.
Tell us about that a little bit. How'd that come about?
Well, I started on Radio Free Satan back around.
What's that? I'm kidding. Just go on.
Satanic Radio. I don't remember if it was 2006 or 2007, but I started doing the goth and industrial show Velvet Darkness, and I ran that for the longest time. But I've always been a fan of vintage country and rockabilly and 50s rock and roll, and there was no show on the station at the time doing any of that. So I was like, well, hey, I've got an idea. Let me pitch it, and I pitched it, and my one real concern was, what can I get away with saying? And since we're not FCC regulated, I was given free reign. I was like, okay, great. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink. I'm not going to script anything. Whatever comes out of my mouth goes on the air.
Nice.
Which
is what we do pretty much. So.
Yeah. The idea for it was to be like a drive-in theater from hell. I put, drive-in trailers and snack bar advertisements and clips from movies and wrestling promos.
Let's
just
all go to
kinds
the
of
lobby.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I use. So it's just meant to be a drunken drive-in theater from hell, and
Nice.
it's I started doing that one 2009, I think it was, and I took some time off from doing it because I moved from Maryland back to North Carolina, and took a while off, so I'm not quite where I would be in episodes if I had been doing it the entire time. But
Right.
of course, I haven't been able to put out a new episode in the last couple of weeks with my arm being fucked up. But
Let me ask you, did you make that mask? The Clint Mephisto mask?
yes,
Wow, man.
yes, yeah, I made that one.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of your work, man. It's amazing.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it was
that's,
cool
just a simple
to
face
see you in
swap.
person last year at the art show in Fort Myers.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was a pretty groovy experience. I had a good time doing that.
Now, were you at the 50th?
It was
I can't remember.
yes, I was there.
Oh, wait, I do remember.
I don't think we the three of us collectively had a moment to really stop and talk. I think we were kind of passing each other the entire weekend. So
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of that going on. There was so many people.
Yeah, it's always like that. There's so many people. You try and you give a minute to each person. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Right.
How's that rash?
Yeah, there's.
definitely.
I know there was a group of people that I was trying to make a point to stop and talk to and never got to. But I guess that's what happens when you get a couple hundred people together.
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed. Yeah.
So how'd you get into the sculpting?
Well, another one of those things that just kind of, I like to think that a lot of these things were just kind of predetermined for me,
Yeah.
I mean, with the wrestling thing, having grown up, my parents were also into horror movies, and they raised me on horror movies and sci-fi movies and all the cool shit. And they actually, my name, Christopher Lee, they actually named me after the actor.
Nice.
I like to think that maybe, there was some guidance going on before any of that actually happened. But I used to go to the video store back in the 80s, every weekend and get 6 or 7 horror movies. And, my parents would take me up there. My dad would watch them with me, and I grabbed, I I think it was Friday the 13th, Part 6. And there was an advertisement for Tom Savini's documentary, and he was, the special effects guy that did, the 2 Friday the 13th movies, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw that little commercial for that documentary, and I stopped the tape, and I was like, take me back to Blockbuster. I luckily found a copy of it. I brought it home. I watched it, and as soon as it was over, I turned to my parents. I was like, that's what I want to do. That's all I want to do is just make monsters. So that kind of kicked it off. And at the time, there was really no internet, so I would mow yards and take money to the costume shop. You couldn't buy any of this stuff on the internet. And wrote letters to any special effects guy I could find in Fangoria magazine, and of course, none of them.
I love that magazine.
Yeah,
I bought every goddamn issue of that. But you send all these letters off to guys, and of course, none of them wrote me back except for one guy. Like one guy out in Arizona sent me a bunch of shit. But everybody else just.
That's awesome.
Sometimes that's all it takes. That one guy,
Yeah, and he sent me a bunch of info, and it really helped. And I bought everything I could buy and just started buying shit and experimenting with it, and on me, because I didn't have anybody else that would let me do it. But I remember we moved to a new neighborhood. We moved outside of Charlotte to the next city over, and the neighborhood kids come up, hey, the new kid, you want to play football? And I've got monster makeup on my face, and they all stopped playing football and came and watched me. So
check out this freak.
Yeah, pretty much, But I mean, it just kind of snowballed from there. It's you start doing one thing and then branch out into something else, and
it's a lot of stuff.
All thought you were pretty cool around Halloween time. They were all coming to your place, huh?
Oh yeah. So the neighborhood we're in now really is not, because there's not a whole lot of kids in this neighborhood, but we always try to do up the house nice. We've got the big hearse out in the driveway, and we try to put nice creepy decorations out, but Halloween's every day for us here, so
right on.
That's awesome. What else do you do? Jeez.
Oh god, man, what else? So we got the radio show, we got wrestling, the masks and props and shit. And,
did you say wrestling?
I don't know, did I?
No,
Sound
I
like
don't think
did.
so, but
Well, I have a southern accent. I might have said wrestling. I don't know. But hell, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just say it. Wrestling.
yeah.
Come on down here.
Y'all
Break
do
your goddamn arm.
shirtless wrestling.
Even when I was 25 and cut, I still wrestled in a shirt because I'm just too self-conscious to go shirtless. I just cannot do it.
Don't look at my boobies.
Yeah. I've still got the 6-pack, but it's in a cooler right now. So
I've got a party ball. Remember those?
Pony keg.
yeah.
Oh shit. So how'd you get into Satanism?
Honestly, it's the story is really not much different than everybody else's you hear. Being a teenager in the 80s, I just happened to stumble across it one day. There was a buddy of mine had a book called Into the Unknown that Reader's Digest had put out. And he was into aliens and shit like that. And I've always kind of had a passing interest in aliens, but my interest, being into horror movies, I was always drawn to the darker stuff. So I'm flipping through this book one day, and there's a picture of this guy in a hood with devil horns, and he's leading a black mass. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I've got to know about this guy. It says Anton Szandor LaVey. I'm like, huh. And I read the little blurb about him, and it's Satanic Bible. I'm like, huh. Well, let me see if I can find this. So I went to school and rifled through all their stuff, and I found a couple of microfiche articles and things like that, and stumbled into the mall up the street from my house, and Walden Books had a copy of the Satanic Bible, so I bought it.
Really? In Walden,
yeah.
huh?
I remember all
Yeah,
this.
in North Carolina, in the bookstore, you find the Satanic Bible. I just remember, getting the look from the cashier,
Right.
And snuck it home and read it, and holy shit, there it was. This book's all about me. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really like the most revelatory story. It's very similar to almost everyone you hear, but
You know what I used to do?
growing up in
sorry.
the town that I was in, if I were to even utter that word, I would have been lynched. So
Sure.
When I was younger, I used to go into the bookstores, and every time I'd see like 5 to 10 satanic Bibles, I used to take them all out and put them up on the shelf at eye level, like all across from each other. I don't know why.
Remember when Walden was
that
used to be the only bookstore, like before there was a Barnes and Nobles or anything. You had to go into a Walden Books in the mall, and their selection wasn't anything great, but
yeah,
exactly. I used to do this thing that I didn't even know that Anton LaVey had written about it, and then when I saw it in another book, I was like, oh my God, I've been doing that all along. I would take the Satanic Bibles and I'd put them in the self-help section. And then when I read that little thing that he'd written about how it needed to be in the self-help section, I was like, I've been doing that already. And every chance I get, if I'm in a bookstore and I find one, I always take it over to the self-help section. I still do it.
Nice.
Self-help.
So what about your family? Were they open-minded to that kind of thing? Like your parents?
Well, my parents were never really religious, but weirdly around the same time I discovered the Satanic Bible, they met some people who convinced them to start going to church. It was almost the same time frame. So I kind of thought maybe I should keep it under wraps. Yeah. I figured maybe I should keep it under wraps, but a few years later, I just told him one day, and my mom was like, "We've known all along." I'm like, "Well, why the hell have I been hiding it from you?" They're respectful of it. They're not too enthused about it. They've asked questions, and I've explained it to them, and they understand, but they're just like, "Well, we just won't talk about it." I'm like, "Okay, that's great."
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. So.
Right on, man.
Sweet.
As far as my joining,
when did you actually? Yeah.
Well, I didn't. Once I'd read the Bible, I was obviously underage, so they weren't gonna take me in anyway. So I really kind of figured that maybe I would wait until I was legal age, until I felt I had progressed to a point where I really had earned that distinction, Yeah. And I joined in the late 90s. Dr. LaVey was still alive when I sent in my information. And got my red card and decided after reading over the active membership application that I didn't want to send it in. I wanted to do things in stages, and I wanted to wait until I felt I was able to, for any lack of a better term, give back,
Mm-hmm.
Until I could actually prove that I was living the philosophy. I didn't want to send in an active application. So I waited several years before I even filled it out. And then when I filled it out, I think I waited probably another year before I even sent the thing in. And really didn't pursue meeting other Satanists or finding other groups or anything like that. Just kind of did my thing. And I've been very fortunate in the aspect that when there's a line I like to use from Harold and Kumar. They say the universe tends to unfold as it should. I tend to run into people when I'm supposed to run into people, Mm-hmm. So it just kind of fell into place when I think it needed to. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, there were several years in between those steps.
Nice. How about friends? Did you ever share it with your friends and let them know, and how do they treat you after that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, because we all kind of go through it. I think I know and I can't stand using the phrase, but everybody likes to say first phase. I cringe a little bit when I hear it,
Yeah.
But I think we all kind of want to tell everybody. When we first start treading that path, we all want to let our friends know, hey, this is what I'm about, and hopefully you're down with it. And if you're not, fuck you.
Right.
So I did, and pretty much everybody was okay with it, except for the one friend that I had that she was Wiccan, and she was not down with it at all. And from that minute forward,
you don't like white candles, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, well, I like one white candle,
Right.
Put it off on the right side, But and she would she really had a problem with it. So then, me being the asshole that I was, started just saying everything that I possibly could to irk her, just things about witches that weren't true,
Yeah. Didn't you end up fucking her or what?
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's about as far down that road as I'm going.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, it was it was an interesting experience carrying that title in the area that I was living in at the time. So
yeah,
you've got the late '80s, early '90s in the buckle of the Bible Belt. So it was quite interesting.
What about future plans? What kind of projects you got in the works other than recovering so you can get back in the ring
and do some wrestling?
I got so many irons in the fire, and I try to multitask. I try to do something every night. Like I'm working on like a couple of short movies and
nice.
One with my daughter that I've filmed all of it, but I'm doing it kind of like a live action stop motion, so it's taking forever to do. So,
damn.
Wow.
And I'm writing a couple of short scripts right now for some short movies I'm gonna be working on, and just just trying to pursue every whim and avenue I have of anything that I dream up. I'm going after it. Right now I'm concentrating on the 2 movie things, healing up the arm, and in between all that, I'm trying to get back to sculpting. I'm left-handed, so I can at least work, but I use my right hand when I sculpt, so it's proving to be a challenge. So.
Dorian just texted me. He wanted me to ask which hand you masturbate with.
I would have just
whichever
asked.
One the mood strikes. Whichever one the mood strikes at that moment.
I have to use my left because my mouse.
Any luchador?
What's that?
Do you have any luchador wrestling?
I don't.
Nacho Libre?
I don't do any.
Do you have a wrestling name or anything? Like a cool, persona or anything?
Well, my persona that I use as far as the wrestling thing is, I've taken my 3 favorite wrestlers, rolled them into one, and just ripping them all off. One more so than others. Like my favorite wrestler, I pretty much lifted his entire gimmick. But my name is Mikado, which is Japanese for emperor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But what I'll do is, like when I cut a promo, depending on if I'm working babyface, I speak in broken English. If I'm working heel, I speak in a little bit of Japanese or don't talk at all. But I will always introduce myself as Akuma Mikado, which means Demon Emperor.
So who did you mix together to make that one? Because I thought you were going to say Ultimate Rowdy Hogan, but
I take nothing from Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, brother.
Nothing. But no, my three favorites are the Great Kabuki, the Great Muda, and Jushin Liger, and I kind of combine elements of them. 90% of it is the Great Muda.
I wish that you would turn Clint Mephisto into a character, because I think with a mask and the hat and maybe a cut out sleeveless flannel shirt would be then boots. He'd be like just a badass. That'd be a badass character.
If I weren't already doing the one that I'm doing and gotten so invested in that, I would really love to do that. But I've just put so much time and effort into this other one that I think at this point I just need to ride that one out. So
makes sense. Of course, yeah.
Because I wrestle and I make my own masks that I wrestle in, and I make the shit that I wear to the ring, and I've put so much money into that already. It drives my wife nuts because I'm sinking money into a hobby that I'm not really getting paid for. So
yeah,
it's like, oh my God, you're spending money to make more shit. I'm like, well, yeah, I am. So,
is your
but it's something I love doing. So, yeah. But I mean, if I hadn't sunk all that money into that, then I probably would work Clint Mephisto in there somehow. But if I were to do 2 of them at this point, I'd probably go nuts.
I'm sure, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, you don't need 2 broken arms.
Oh no, we've already got the. After tomorrow, we'll have metal in the left ankle and metal in the right wrist.
That is so metal.
It's so metal. Yes. That's funny.
Right on, man.
So where can people go to look at your stuff? Where can?
Well, we've got the website, which is screwbiter.net, and I operate under the Screwbiter Studios banner. And I get asked a lot, what the hell does Screwbiter mean? And it's just something that I got off a Japanese punk rock record that I thought was a really cool name. So,
Cool.
I don't know if it means anything or not. I just thought it was something really fucking cool. So
Awesome.
Now,
so
how
here's
much
your
time did you
Screwbiter.
spend in Japan?
Well, I've actually never been.
Oh.
Now,
Your Facebook page says something about it. But...
yeah, it says I was born in Osaka. I do that for the wrestling fans that are in my friends list.
cool.
In the wrestling business, they call it kayfabe, suspension of reality. I basically have put parts of my wrestling character into the Facebook page because a lot of our friends in the wrestlers pages are fans that come to our shows.
Yeah.
So, I listed that as where I was born because my character's half Japanese.
Well, you sound Japanese, so.
Well, thank you.
Arigato.
I figure, nobody's going to look at me and go, oh, yeah, he's definitely full-blooded Japanese. So I figured if I did the half Japanese thing, maybe I could get away with it. And damn if they didn't buy it, hook, line, and sinker. So, I'll run into fans out at the store or whatever, out in public, and, they'll say, hey, Mikado, and I just immediately drop into broken English and start talking to them, So I try to put some of that in the Facebook page, but I've actually never been to Japan. I think if I went, I probably might not even come home. I don't know. So,
John actually convinces people that he's half black, but it's the back half.
Yeah. It, actually, just my ears are. They're really tiny. I don't know how that happened. What? What? So you mentioned Screwbiter. What else is it? Like, can we find the sculpting thing through there, or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, well, that's the main website. There's, pictures there, and you can order masks there. And I've also got the Facebook page for Screwbiter, which I'm not very fluent on, or not fluent. Fluent's not the word I'm looking for. Up to date on updating either of those, and I'm kind of behind on both of them.
Well, you sound busy, man.
Most of what I end up putting on, I'll put more of my Screwbiter stuff on my personal Facebook page, and then I'm like, wait a minute, why didn't I put this on the website or put it on the Screwbiter page? And I end up going back and putting it there, after it's,
Right.
So
nice.
But so yeah, there's those two, and then what else?
Wrestling videos on YouTube somewhere or something?
Yeah. There's we put all of our shows go on we have a YouTube channel, and all the shows go on there. And
what's the channel? How do we find it?
It's youtube.com/MWF Live. The MWF stands for Millennium Wrestling Federation.
What's it stand for? You broke up.
Millennium Wrestling Federation.
It doesn't stand for Millennium Wrestling Federation?
Well, I guess once you're in this area and you hear somebody say it, that's what it's going to become. So,
nice. Christopher, it was really, really cool having you on, man. Seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we want to thank you, man. You are now a devil we know. And
I can dig it.
We'll hopefully talk to you again soon, man.
Are you gonna be at the Devil's Reign 2?
That is the plan, because I do have a piece in the book. I don't know if I got into the actual gallery show. I know I'm in the book, and I can't really say too much about it right now. But there might be some Screwbiter stuff at the Electric Hellfire Club show. So,
sweet.
Yeah, very cool. Man.
We definitely plan on being in attendance this year as well. So.
Cool. Then we will see you there.
Nice.
I can dig it. Gentlemen, thank you for having me on.
All right. Everyone, until next time, hail Satan.
Hail Satan.